Today, President Trump, first day back in office, he's wasting no time. He's signing a wave of executive orders aimed at fulfilling key campaign promises, reversing policies from the Biden administration, from declaring a national emergency at the southern border to ending federal DEI programs. These actions mark the beginning of what President Trump calls the complete restoration of America, a return to common sense. Joining me now to unpack some of these, Dr. Chris Gacek, Senior Fellow for Regulatory Affairs here at the Family Research Council. Chris, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hi, Tony. How you doing? Good to be with you. And what a wild day it's been.
It has, and I'm sure it's only going to get even wilder. Let's talk about some of the key. There's a lot of these executive orders. I think they're going to be rolling out a whole stream of them over the next several days. Let's hit the ones at the top of the list. What do we have so far?
Well, what happened this morning was that the president, when he was at the Capitol, signed about 4 or 5, and one had to do with inauguration day ceremony and a number of cabinet, sub-cabinet appointees, and making appointments and commissions and things like that. So a lot of administrative issues. But right now, just 2 blocks from here, the president is seated, and he's about to make an address at the Capital One Center, and it looks like the Air Force Band is over there. I mean, it's a big event with like another 15 to 20,000 people inside. And there's a sort of I don't think it's the real one, but there's an Oval Office look-alike desk sitting there with a chair, and apparently he's going to go and sign maybe a couple dozen or more executive orders, and maybe talk about them as he goes through them. So at this point, there's a bit of, I wouldn't say conjecture. I think we sort of know what directions they're going, but we don't have the actual paper with the words. And we haven't seen the, precisely which ones have been done in what order. So I just want to spell that out.
Yeah, we've been waiting. He was scheduled at right at the top of the hour, but he typically runs a little bit behind. One that, again, we're working off of titles because we've not seen the content of the executive orders, but one which I mentioned earlier with Congressman Adderholt was one dealing with the fact that there are 2 sexes. This is an issue, it's Title VII, but he says as it applies to federal personnel. I'm wondering if this is going to reach into the military and end the transgender policy of the Biden administration.
Well, if we move out of this gender ideology framework and go back to a description of or a use of biological sex, right, the term sex instead of gender, that's going to have kind of rolling it's going to have a logical effect that's going to essentially wipe out a lot of policies. Even that's the way the law works. The law works is if I set a principle in motion, it's going to work its way through things. And I think that if, depending on how many boundaries they put on this, it will do the same sort of thing. Sometimes they take the military out of these, but my sense is that the way President Trump thinks about things, it's like the military would be the first place he does it.
So how will that mesh with the Supreme Court ruling on the Title VII gender issue?
Well, I guess they're going to be, kind of at the Bostock decision. It's going to be interesting. Just some immediate points. The Bostock ruling was about a private employer. The government, the federal government, may have more leeway with regard to the employees that it has in terms of setting terms and conditions, especially in areas like the military. So, again, one of the things that happens here is that there are issues that have to play out in kind of legal thinking. And remember one thing, until 20 years ago, everything was framed in terms of biological sex. So it wasn't like we've never been in this world before, right? It's more like the strange new world that the Supreme Court and other, institutions have created for us, have created these problems. And in a sense, using biological sex again would just be a reset to the way things should be.
But as he made very clear, this was a return to common sense. Common sense has not been that common
Exactly.
He's got executive orders on the border. That's been the big focus. In fact, there'll be several dealing with the border, declaring an emergency. No doubt, Chris Gacek, we're going to see a lot of legal action, and there will be suits filed to try to stop the president from moving forward with these executive orders. Am I correct?
Right. Yes, I think I saw on a Politico flash news item that somebody's already filed to get an injunction against the Doge effort, which is kind of silly because I think the Doge, you know, Musk and these people are essentially assistants to Russ Vought in the Office of Management and Budget. And I think he can, get people and advisors and things of this one. I don't know. That seems, kind of persnickety, but we'll see what happens. Remember, one of the things about the District of Columbia is that it's populated with all these leftist district court judges and all these, very leftist appellate court judges. I mean, it's kind of a rotten borough up here, as they would use, like in English politics, right? It's it's a company-owned town, and the deep state and the government own the own judiciary, except at the Supreme Court level. And there you have a group of conservative lawyers, especially conservative on these administrative state issues.
Yeah, they've actually ruled on that recently. So that's going to be interesting. All right, Chris, we're out of time, but we're going to come back to you in the next couple of days as we look more at these executive orders.